Hello and welcome. Today let's talk about yet another interesting functionality available on the IT portal, that is income tax calculator. This will come in handy when you want to know how much income tax you have to pay for a particular year. You may use this functionality to compute income tax for the current year as well as for the last 2 years. For example, for the current financial year 2022-23, the assessment year would be 2023-24. So you may use this functionality to compute income tax for the assessment year 23-24 as well as for last 2 years, that is for assessment year 22-23 and assessment year 21-22. This functionality is useful not just to compute tax but also to do a quick comparison between normal and alternate tax regimes. If you would like to know more about normal and alternate tax regimes, you may consider watching my earlier video, the link in the top right corner. To put it in simple words, if you opt for alternate tax regime, then you will not be able to avail certain exemptions and deductions. No such restriction if you opt for normal tax regime. Now coming back to today's topic, you have two options to compute the tax. The first is the basic calculator, wherein you can compute income tax if you know the annual income and total deductions. Second is the advanced calculator, which may be used to compute income tax if you have income from different sources like income from salary, rent, business, capital gains and so on. Today we'll go through both these options in detail. Not just income tax, even interest liability can be computed using this functionality. So in this video, we are going to go through the step-by-step process of using basic calculator as well as advanced calculator, starting with the basic calculator. Let's navigate to the IT portal. In the quick links section, scroll down and select income tax calculator. This will navigate you to the income and tax calculator screen. You have two tabs here. First is the basic calculator, then advanced calculator. Let's switch back to the basic calculator. Select assessment year. Here I have selected 2023-24. Select taxpayer category. It can be an individual, HUF, firm, LLP, domestic company, foreign company, association of persons or body of individuals, cooperative society, trust. Let's select individual. Select your age. It can be below 60 years, regular citizen, between 60 and 79 years, senior citizen, 80 and above, super senior citizen. Let's select below 60 years. Select the residential status, that is resident but not ordinarily resident, or non-resident. Let's select resident. Enter the total taxable income for the year. Here I have entered 12 lakh. Enter total deductions. Deductions could be on account of premiums that you pay for your insurance policies or repayment of principal for housing loan and so on. Here I have entered 1 lakh. On the basis of the information that we have provided, a tax summary would be displayed, wherein total income, total deductions and tax amount as per old tax regime, that is normal tax regime, and tax amount as per new tax regime, that is alternate tax regime, would be displayed. The summary would also give us information on how much we save if we opt for new tax regime. To view the comparison between old and new tax regime, let's click on View Comparison. A pop-up would appear where you would get the breakup of income as well as tax amount as per old as well as new tax regime. Click on Close. At any time, if you want to ignore the data that you have provided and if you would like to enter fresh set of data, then you can click on Reset, and thereafter you can provide fresh set of data to do the computation. Now let's move to the advanced calculator. Here you have an option to select the tax regime, that is old or new tax regime. If you have opted for normal tax regime, then you can select old tax regime. If it is alternate tax regime, then you may select new tax regime. Select assessment year and taxpayer category. Select age and residential status. Due date of submission of return would be automatically displayed. Actual date of submission of return is also automatically displayed, but this is irrelevant to us. Now let's move to the section details for income and tax calculation. Here we can provide income information under different sources of head. First, income under the head salaries. Let's enter 12 lakh. Then next would be income under the head house property. Click on provide income in detail. If you have a self-occupied property and if you pay interest on your home loan, then you can enter that amount here. Here I have entered 80,000. If you have let out any property, then you must be having rental income. So in the annual lettable value or rent received or receivable, enter the rent that you have received or what is receivable. Here I have entered 1.2 lakh. Whatever municipal taxes that you have paid during the year has to be entered here. If you have any unrealized rent, you may enter that information here. Net annual value and standard deduction would be automatically computed. If you pay any interest on the home loan in respect of this let out property, you may provide that information here. Once you provide these details, income under the head house property would be computed. So as of now, we have completed income under the head salaries and income under the head house property. Now let's move to the next head, capital gains. Click on provide income in detail. First, short-term capital gains other than covered under section 111A. Here you may provide information related to short-term capital gains, and this information has to be provided for the specific period that is mentioned here. Here you can provide details of transactions like if you have sold any house within 24 months, then such transactions can be entered in this particular section. Next is short-term capital gains covered under section 111A. Here you can provide information related to the short-term capital gains that you have made on your stock transactions. That is on transactions on which securities transaction tax has been paid. Provide breakup for the period specified. Next, long-term capital gains charged to tax at 20%. If you have any long-term capital gain which is chargeable to tax at 20%, for example, let's say you have sold your house after 24 months, so the capital gain on such transactions would attract 20% of tax. You may provide such information here. Here I have assumed 5 lakh for the period from 1st April to 15th June. Next, long-term capital gains charged to tax at 10% other than LTCG under section 112A. Here if you have any transactions on which capital gains are subject to tax at 10%, you may provide that information here. Here I have left it blank. The last is long-term capital gains under section 112A charged to tax at 10%. Here you may provide details of the gains that you have made on your long-term stock transactions. Here I have provided the breakup for the period specified. With this we have now completed the details for the head capital gains, and the income under the head capital gains is automatically computed. Now let's move to the next head, business or profession. If you have any presumptive income under section 44AD, 44AE or 44ADA, you may enter that information. If you would like to know more about presumptive income, you may consider to watch my earlier video. I'll leave the link in the top right corner. Here I've assumed 1 lakh to be presumptive income and no other business or professional income. With this we have completed income under the head business or profession. Now let's move to the next head, that is income under the head other sources. Here we can enter the details of interest from savings bank account. Here I've entered 8,000. In the other interest income we can enter details like interest on FD and so on. Here I have entered 30,000. And winning from lottery, crossword puzzles, etc. and any other income are reported as 0. With this we have completed providing information under all the 5 heads. So the gross total income is computed. Now let's move to the next section, deductions. Here let's say deductions under section 80C. This could be like premium for insurance, PF, PPF, etc. Let's assume this to be 25,000 and no other deduction under section 80 triple C, 80 double CD and so on. Let's say you pay Mediclaim insurance premium, so deduction under section 80D would be 5,000 and no deduction under section 80G or 80E or 80 double E. Whatever interest that we earn on savings bank account, we can claim deduction under section 80 double TA up to 10,000 rupees. So I have entered 8,000 here. If there are any other deduction, you may enter that information here. If you would like to add more, you can click on add deduction and enter the relevant information. With this, we have completed deductions section. Now taxable income would be computed, that is gross total income as reduced by deductions. Next, income tax computation. First, tax at normal rates, then we have tax at special rates, that is on capital gains, lottery, etc. Click on view details and see what are the taxes that have been computed at special rates. First is short-term capital gains covered under section 111A. Then we have long-term gains chargeable at 20%. Then we have long-term gains under section 112A. So tax that is applicable at special rates would appear here, and for the remaining income, tax would be computed at normal rates, that is according to the slab rate. And this is the total tax on income including health and education cess. If there is any TDS or TCS, MAT or AMT credit, then we can enter that information here. Here I am assuming 25,000 to be TDS. In the self-assessment tax or advanced tax section, we can provide date of payment and amount of the tax that we have paid if we have made any advanced tax or self-assessment tax payment. Here I have assumed 50,000 as advanced tax payment. So the balance tax payable would be computed along with interest liability, and this is the total tax and interest payable. If you notice, there is a disclaimer here. The above calculator is only to enable public to have a quick and an easy access to basic tax calculation and does not purport to give correct income and tax calculation in all circumstances. It is advised that for filing of returns, the exact calculation may be made as per the provisions contained in the relevant tax rules, etc. On one hand, the income tax department has given us this income tax calculator functionality, and on the other hand it says this is only for reference purpose. So this is quite contradictory. Apart from this, this income tax calculator is a very useful functionality. Again, if you would like to reset the data, you may click on reset and provide fresh set of data to do the recomputation. That's all I have for you in this video. Hope this was helpful. If you have enjoyed this episode, you may like and share the video. Thank you for watching.